Through a recently issued memorandum, President Obama has also directed our departments and agencies to identify high-impact, job-creating infrastructure projects so that we can fast-track them through the review and permitting processes. Seems to me that Democrats and Republicans can both agree that we should speed up project delivery times. Finally, all of this is funded without adding a dime to the deficit. No more adding it on the debt, no more adding it on the deficit. The President proposed that we pay for the American Jobs Act through his long-term plan to pay down our debt, a plan that cuts spending and asks the wealthiest citizens and biggest corporations to kick in their fair share. We've heard economists and analysts of every political persuasion tell us that the President's jobs bill will boost the economy and spur hiring to the tune of 2 million jobs. More importantly, we've heard the uproar of enthusiasm from the American people. I've traveled to over 200 cities in 48 states during the last 3 years. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, put our friends and neighbors back to work. Let's build America's infrastructure. Let's create American jobs building America's infrastructure. Just in the month since President Obama sent the American Jobs Act to Congress, I've met with construction workers building St. Paul's new light rail, Charlotte's new streetcar system, and a new air traffic control tower in Oakland. I visited with leaders of the American labor movement at the Labor's International Convention, with business people in Kansas City, with economic development officials in Anchorage, Alaska, and with government officials and transit experts in Detroit. Their response to President Obama's call to action has been overwhelming. At every stop, workers and business leaders are shouting very loudly for the Congress to pass a jobs bill. This is not a partisan issue. This is not partisan sentiment. Americans are hurting. We have 9% unemployment. We need to put our friends and neighbors back to work. In one poll conducted earlier this year, 2 of 3 voters and 59% of Tea Party supporters said making improvements in transportation is extremely important. Unlikely allies like the Chamber of Commerce, Tom Donahue, who heads the U.S. Chamber, and the AFL-CIO president, Rich Trumka, are putting their full-throated advocacy behind transportation investments. I've talked with both of them. I've served on panels with both of them. I've heard them say, let's put America to work. This is one of those moments when the American people are counting on their representatives in Washington to set aside their differences and achieve the possible, not the perfect. They should expect nothing less. Nobody can or will get everything they want, and I've personally delivered that message to some of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, former colleagues. The bottom line is this: you know better than anyone, America's transportation system is a very special part of our heritage. The canals that first made interstate commerce possible, the transcontinental railroad that connected our coasts, the interstate highway system that enabled a half a century of unrivaled opportunity and prosperity. American workers dreamed these things up. American workers wielded the shovels, laid the tracks, and poured the concrete that brought these things to life. American workers passed these things on to us, their children and grandchildren. We owe nothing less to our children and grandchildren. You know, in America, we have a state-of-the-art interstate system. We have a state-of-the-art rail system. When we put our mind to it, and when people come together, great things have happened in America. That is what we need to happen today. We need to stand on the shoulders of those who created the interstate system, created the freight rail system, and have the dreams of creating other opportunities. American workers have paid their taxes that are necessary to finance these investments in tomorrow. They sacrificed so their neighbors would have jobs, so their businesses would flourish, so that all of us would reap the benefits. The United States isn't a nation that just talks about building big things only to get mired in the smallness of politics. That's beneath us. We're better than that. In America, we do big things. We always have. A few months ago, I was on the border between Arizona and Nevada, dedicating a bridge that goes over the Hoover Dam. It took 7 years to build. Magnificent structure. That's what America has always done. We've done big things. We've put our friends and neighbors to work. All across America, Americans are waiting to get this economy going, to get the economy moving. I know some of you are here from other countries, and you wonder why America cannot continue the progress to build high-speed rail, to build transit system, to build our highways. Well, we can do that, and we must do that. If Congress passes President Obama's Jobs Act, we can once again put people back to work, making our nation's transportation system the envy of the world. Again, I want to say thank you for all that you do to improve safety. As I said at the beginning, safety is our #1 priority. It's what we think about every day. It's what the American people and most people who ride any form of transportation take for granted. But you also will continue to make safety your #1 priority as you develop the next generation of technologies that make driving safe, that make riding on a train safe, or a plane, or any other form of transportation. So we're grateful for the work that you do. We're grateful that so many smart people gather together and talk to one another and appreciate one another and think about safety. And we also hope that you will leave here with the idea that we have a big job in America right now to put our friends and neighbors to work, to make sure that people do have a job. Most people in America know somebody who's unemployed. With 9.1% unemployment, most families have someone who's unemployed. That is not the condition that we want in America. That is not what America's been about. America has been about putting friends and neighbors to work, putting American workers to work building America's infrastructure. It's our hope that we will get back to that Congress will work hard to do that. If that happens, we will continue a long, rich tradition in America of putting friends and neighbors to work and having the state-of-the-art infrastructure that America has come to know. Thank you for all that you do, and I'm delighted to be a part of your program.